Can you hear me, whoever you are? Hello. Speaking. Oh, cool. You can hear me? Type something in the chat real quick, Daniel. Okay, so you can hear me. Alrighty. Da, 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 da. Oh, it's waiting for me to do something. Okay. Oh, okay, wait. If you can hear me, I don't even need to mess with this. So I'm just gonna hit X, cancel, and then I will da 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 try to switch to the splash screen. It should switch on the stream. We'll see what happens. I think there's like some weird latency between when I put in something and when something actually happens. But like, if you hear me, then we should be fine. Who just typed hey? Is that Shrija? Hi Shrija, how are you? How are you doing? Okay, so if possible, I'm gonna want one of you to sort of like help people debug in the comments. Because this is like a live demo, like we're gonna be building an app. So like maybe now that I think about it, like y'all will probably not be able to because you don't know what the project is super well. But like I guess I could just like take breaks. Sure. Let me see how I can do that. I I don't know if I can. It's pretty complicated, or like I don't know. I think it's on maximum volume on the thing already on OBS, so I don't know. Okay, it's 15 minutes before, so if you can drop that stream in Discord, that would be ideal. I'll put it on the splash screen and like mute my mic temporarily, and then we'll figure it out. Hello, can y'all hear me? Okay, cool. Can I get an emote in chat if you can hear me? Wait. Okay, dope. Dope, 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 dope. Okay, so we're gonna start at 6 p.m. So just chill, I guess. Oh, cool. Rutgers SIS commented on our Instagram post. Shout out, whoever the dean of SIS is, I guess. It's pretty cool. Okay, cool. Let's get started. Okay. Um, Hello. Apologies. I think that there's like a slight latency between when I say something or do something on my screen and when y'all actually see it. But that being said, I will do my best to sort of. Oh, sorry. This is my first time doing any sort of like live streaming thing, so if it's like a little bit slow, bear with me. So, blockchain casino, learning how to score on Icon. So, welcome to this workshop. For those of you who are like uninitiated, this is a Major League Hacking localhost workshop. I'll get into what that means a little bit later. So, first thing that you need to do is log on to your Wi-Fi network. Usually we do these in like a physical space, so I would have the Wi-Fi information, but I'm guessing if you're connected to this live stream, then you're already connected to the internet. And if you want to tweet at Major League Hacking after this event, or want to just tweet about it, or like Instagram about it, or whatever, the hashtag is hashtag MLH localhost. So, hello, my name is Ali, and I'm here to lead this session today and help you learn something new. I'm a junior at Rutgers. I'm the president of USACS, and my favorite programming language is JavaScript. I also like Python and dabble in a little bit of like DevOps infrastructure stuff with like Docker and Kubernetes. So the first thing that you need to do for this workshop is go to that link, http mlhlocal.host/checkin. So that URL will send you an email with everything that you need for this workshop. So it is super important to sort of like follow along. So make sure to go to that link, please. Thank you. So, if you haven't heard of Major League Hacking is the global hacker community. Our mission is to empower hackers. So, some of you may be familiar with Major League Hacking through the events that we do. So, if you've ever been to a hackathon, odds are that it was a Major League Hacking member event. So, if you go to a lot of like hackathons at colleges, you know about Major League Hacking through that. But if you don't, we also lead workshops like this, which are called localhost workshops. We also will. What else do we do? We publish blog posts called Content Launchpad. So if you ever want to work on a side project on your own time, you can check some of that stuff out. We do a lot of cool stuff, and we help a lot of people. Like 65,000 people have been to these localhost workshops. We've helped people create 12,000 projects in over 400 cities. So if you want to learn more about Major League Hacking, just go to mlh.io, and you'll learn a lot. So here's a quick table of contents of what we're going to go through today. And so what we'll like, let's get to the actual like meat of it. So today we're gonna sort of go through like a brief explanation of what blockchain is and a pretty cool blockchain technology called Icon. We're gonna go through how to create a blockchain wallet and send and receive transactions, and then finally how to deploy an application to the Icon network, which is like a decentralized blockchain network, and using a tool called Morpheus Labs. So let's get into like the description of what blockchain is. So when you hear blockchain, you probably think about cryptocurrency, which is sort of a good framework for thinking about it, but maybe not the best. So to get into why blockchain is cool, we have to like think about what came before blockchain. So when we think about financial transactions, the way that we sort of do those today is with a bank, right? You will go to the bank and you will either like add money to your account or spend money, right? The bank keeps a ledger of all of the different transactions that you make, and because like the bank, it talks to itself and possibly talks to other banks, it like knows basically where like the same pool of money is moving around. And it's like the banks are an institution, right? So they basically handle and track how the money moves around. So this is known as centralized banking. All processes happen through the bank and are recorded by the bank. So yeah, it, like I said before, it's just like the center of all financial operations. It tracks it tracks how basically every single person spends money, because you have to kind of go through the bank to spend that money. And there are some problems with this, right? So let's say that like the bank ledger is insecure, right? What if somebody tampers with it? That's the only copy of those records that we have, which is super dangerous, because if I somehow get a handle on that ledger, I can just take all of the money out of Jeff Bezos's bank account and put it in my bank account. And what if the bank gets into major financial trouble? That one's a little too real, so I'm gonna skip cracking a joke about it and just move right along. So yeah, blockchain is a pretty good solution to this. So blockchain was created to help solve like the problem of centralized banking and having only like one source of that knowledge. It's decentralized, which means that like every single person who uses the system has a little bit of the information, and then they all communicate with each other to sort of like validate purchases. So before computers, that was like super difficult, because how are you going to get every single person that uses? Every single person has a copy of the ledger. All new transactions are verified by every single person's copy, and then transactions are sent directly to one another instead of through a central financial institution. So let's say I borrow money from my friend. That is reflected on our two ledgers that I am like, let's say $10 out, and they just gained, or if I'm borrowing money, I have 10 new dollars and they're $10 out, right? And then after that's settled on our ledgers, like the rest of the network sort of gets that information, and it's pretty cool. If you're interested in like distributed systems and stuff like that, blockchain is a really good application for that, or it's a good application of it. And yeah, it's like it's decentralized. So now you don't need a bank. So if you pay like an obscene amount of money in like overdraft fees or stuff like that, like you are technically the person that holds your money. So you don't have to worry about like something going wrong, and then like you get it. So yeah, quick history of blockchain. The way that this works is with cryptography. So we talked about security a little bit earlier, and what if somebody gets into the bank records? So if you have a bunch of different copies of something and they use cryptography to be super secure, which banks probably can't do on the scale that blockchain does, because again, like every single copy that every single basically impossible to modify or change or tamper with. So it's super secure. Blockchain's been around since the 90s, but it really like became this like holy shit super cool thing in 2008 after blockchain was created, or not blockchain, Bitcoin, which is like an application of blockchain, was created in 2008. So yeah. So what can we use blockchain for? A lot of people think that blockchain is just like for cryptocurrencies, which is not necessarily true. There's a lot of really cool applications of blockchain. Some of them are listed here. You can use it to like track legal documents, and that way you sort of like cut out the middleman of needing a law firm. As long as you have like well-formed documents, like those are preserved, and you don't need somebody to like hold on to them. Healthcare, a lot of people are super scared of their healthcare data going out, because like private healthcare tends to use that data to like drive up premiums or do things that are not necessarily like in the best interest of people. But like if you can get your data to your doctor securely without having to go through a healthcare provider, that's like a potential future application of blockchain that is like really, really exciting, because it sort of like puts the power back in the hands of the people. Music, blockchain can create a decentralized database of ownership rights and stuff like that. But like even in like the realm of money, right? You can use blockchain to do things outside of like spending and making money, and like a lot of people currently use it to sort of just like bet on a second stock market. But like blockchain can be used to send money to places where it's like super difficult. Like you sort of can like cut the middleman out of like sending money overseas. Like I have family overseas and we send them money all the time, so like, and it's like a very like painstaking process. So using blockchain could be a way to do that in a more like effective way. So yeah, let's move on to the next thing, which is an introduction to Icon. So Icon, the Icon project is like a software library that uses blockchain to ensure the integrity of the data being shared between organizations. It basically allows you to create like applications on a decentralized network. And there are many different implementations of blockchain technology, and it's difficult for them to communicate with one another. Like if a bunch of different people are on like different networks, like obviously like they can't be connected to each other like on a sort of like peer to peer. But Icon aims to allow these technologies to interact and transact with each other without lots of third parties in the middle. This is what decentralized governance means. So yeah, pretty cool. Part of the Icon project is its cryptocurrency called Icon Exchange Tokens or ICX. We give and receive ICX online, so it's like not necessarily like a money thing, but it's like more of a compute thing, I believe. But yeah, we store our ICX in a digital wallet and a secure location for our ICX data. So it's sort of like operations and also like physical money can be stored as ICX, and then those are what are sort of like transacted between users. I think like the easiest thing to think about is that Icon is a platform for blockchain technology, not necessarily like a cryptocurrency or a blockchain in and of itself, even though it is technically both of those things as well. And then Icon also does this thing called a smart contract. So and they call them scores. So a score is a smart contract on a reliable environment. A score is deployed onto the Icon network. It is a block on the blockchain, and then you send transactions to the score's address, and then all of the nodes verify the results of that transaction. So that sort of like goes back to the thing that I was talking about with it being like cool. Yeah, like everybody like you make a change, and then the rest of the network validates it. So yeah, like if we send coins to a friend, we write the transaction, which reduces our balance, simultaneously increases theirs, and then that is reflected on the entire network after it's validated, and then that's what's updated on the ledger, and then it's all encrypted, so it's very hard to modify, and it's also distributed, so it's even harder to modify. And then you write scores using tbears, which is Icon's suite of command line development tools. So tbears creates scores, tests them. It uses testnet, which is an environment that emulates the real life mainnet of Icon. So like if you're sort of like building a new app to put on the Icon platform, you want to test it on testnet before you put it on mainnet, because if you put something that like doesn't work on mainnet, like something probably not great is going to happen. So tbears is sort of like the development tool that facilitates all of the blockchain when you use Icon. So what are we going to do today? We are going to use Icon to create a slot machine where people can like bet ICX, that cryptocurrency, to play the game, and they'll either gain or lose ICX depending on the outcome. So if you've ever been to like Atlantic City or Vegas, or like have just ever seen a slot machine before, like you pull it and then like numbers pull up, and if the numbers are favorable, you get money, and if the numbers are not favorable, you lose money because you have to spend money to play the slot machine. So we're gonna do that, but digitally and free and fun. Awesome. So a big part of online gaming slash online gambling slash just blockchain in general is provable fairness. Like trust, basically, if you can trust the system and trust that it's like fair and that you aren't going to be scammed like every single time, like you will want to play, and if you can't verify that, you will not want to play. So as a player, how can you know that the slot machine is truly random and fair, that it hasn't been tampered with? This is called provable fairness, and blockchain like again like proves this, right? Because if it's distributed and like everybody has access to it, right, as opposed to just like one centralized thing, and like you understand how the framework works, you can like trust it a lot more than like sort of taking someone's word in a centralized institution and then being like, yeah, I promise you this works, I made it myself, when you can't necessarily verify the trustworthiness of the person who's telling you to trust them. The gaming logic in our slot machine will generate a random number. If the number ends in 0, the player has won, so that's like 1 in 10 odds, right? And then to generate the number, our score will combine a complex verifiable transaction hash with the current timestamp and convert it into a number. This way, our generated number can be trusted to be fair. So yeah, it's like it hashes it, and then you get another number, and it works. Like this is like completely random. It's how computers work, right? Like it's very hard to tamper with something like that. So yeah, this is sort of how it's gonna look when we're done. You're gonna have like a little web app that you can use to like hit the slots, and then it'll be a Flask app, and cool. Let's jump right into it. So yeah, the specific things that we're going to do for this workshop are launch the slot machine application, set up the ICX wallet, create a workspace, deploy a smart contract onto the Icon testnet. So basically, we're just gonna like focus on a lot more of the blockchain stuff than the web dev stuff, but we also will be writing some Python code. So this is gonna be pretty fun. Next thing is like setting up our environment. So that's where Morpheus Labs come in. Morpheus Labs is a blockchain platform as a service. You can basically choose the network that you want to like deploy your application to. And it's a web-based tool that is going to allow us to write our scores, deploy them, and launch our web app all from our browser. So let's get started. So if you are following along, if you got that email from mlhlocal.host/checkin, I think you should have gotten this link as a resource. But in case you did not, number one, please do that. It's kind of important that we know who's sort of like following along with the talk. But if you want to go directly to the link, you can go to mlhlocal.host/Morpheus login, and that will redirect you to Morpheus. So next thing is configuring Morpheus Labs. After you get put on the account, like the account creation page, you can create an account. So when you get to that screen, you're gonna want to hit the like free button after filling in all of your personal information. Sort of just let me know in chat if you have any questions. I'll give y'all like a minute to do that. Yeah, like I said, there's like a little bit of latency, so it might be more than a minute. So I'll say at like 6:23, I'll sort of like resume presenting again. I'm gonna switch screens real quick. The direct link was mlhlocal.host/Morpheus login, I believe. I will drop that in chat. So yeah, once you're done, you should be redirected to the Morpheus Labs page. I'll get into that a little bit later. Okay, I think I'm gonna get back to it. So, hopefully there were no hiccups signing up for a Morpheus account. Yeah. So, after you sign up, the first thing that you're gonna want to do is to create a blockchain network. So the way that you do that is you go to blockchain ops, or on the login screen actually, after you like go through that entire process. Hopefully y'all picked the free account. That's the thing that you were supposed to do. But yeah, first thing that you're going to want to do is go to the blockchain networks page, which is on like that dashboard, that sidebar labeled as blockchain ops. And then you're just going to want to click new blockchain. We're going to want to create an icon like blockchain, or an icon block on the blockchain. For the deployment option, we're going to want to do ready to go. And then for our prefix, we want the name to be icon. And then the wallet password can be anything that you want it to be. I'm just going to make mine like, I don't know, hi USAX. And then we're going to submit it. So yeah, once you do that, you have this like little blockchain network and it's good to go. It's waiting for you. So the next thing that we want to do after that is go to our dashboard and then connect GitHub to our thing. Connect GitHub to our Morpheus portal so that we can get the code that is running the application that we are going to modify. So for that, I might actually switch to the slides real quick. Oh, that looks weird. Hopefully it does not look weird for anyone else. I will try and fix it if it does. Oh, cool. It's large. All right. Da, 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 da. I think I can just, okay, cool. And then just drag that over to the side. Cool, it's visible. Maybe I'll make it a little bit smaller. Yeah, like I said, first time running any kind of like live streaming thing, so please forgive me for the slight technical difficulties. But yeah, cool. So yeah, click the try plan, then confirm, then check out, then confirm. Create a new, what's it called, icon blockchain network, and then we're gonna get the source code from our application on GitHub, then create a new workspace. So yeah, we should have already done this part, but just in case, click on new blockchain, go to the third page, and then click on icon. Ready to go. Don't need to mess around with like the settings for that at all. And then for the prefix, type icon, and then the password is anything that you want, like the slides recommend password. So after that, we're going to want to hit like the play button, and then our network will be live. It'll have launched. Cool. Next thing is, what's it called? Setting up GitHub. So if you don't have a GitHub account, make sure to sign up for one. You can do that directly at mlhlocal.host/GitHub signup. That will be like pretty quick, I think. And then the next thing that we want to do is get the source code. So that is a GitHub repo that y'all are going to want to fork on your own GitHub accounts. So if you go to mlhlocal.host/icon casino starter, I'll drop that in chat. MLH local host icon casino starter. Cool. So if you go to that link, okay, just occurred to me that y'all probably got that message before you got like to the slide. I need to figure out the synchronization stuff a little bit better, but it's all good. So yeah, once you get to that page and you have a GitHub account and you are signed in, you're gonna want to hit the fork button so that way it exists on your GitHub account, like on your page. Forking a repo basically means that you are like taking a version of the code and then yeeting it. We're gonna want to create an access token to that repo. So if you click your profile photo in the top left corner, actually I might screen share for this. Might be a little bit easier to watch. Cool. So if I go to github.com, so yeah. Oh, cool. I have to sign into GitHub. I think I cleared my cache when I switched to Firefox. Da-da-da. Cool. So yeah, once you get to like the GitHub accounts page, you can go to your settings after clicking like the top right, and then like clicking that drop down. Then you'll go to settings, and then you want to go to developer settings. So then after you get to developer settings, you want to go to personal access tokens, and then you want to generate a new token. So I already have a token, so I will walk y'all through how to make one without actually making one myself. So if you go to, so first off, you need to name it. You can name it anything. I would just recommend naming it Morpheus Labs because that it's like good to know what you're giving access to. Next thing is just tick every single one of these boxes. Um, do do do. Cool. And then once you do that and you hit generate token, what it's going to do is it's going to give you a link for you to copy paste. So cool. Let's do that. I'll do it again. I'll rename this to Morpheus. Cool. So yeah, there's that link that you're going to want to copy paste. You can just hit the little clipboard button and that'll copy it. Then you want to go to Morpheus Labs, and then it should say repository connection. Mine doesn't say that because I've already set one up, but like it's fine. I'll edit it, right? So if you change the repository account, or in your case, just like add a repository connection, it'll ask you for a platform. The first one is GitLab. You're going to want to change that to GitHub. Then you're going to want to give it an access token, which is that thing that we just generated. So if it's copied to your clipboard, all you got to do is hit paste. Then you want to hit that connect button. It asked me for an organization. I'm guessing that if you're not in any organizations on GitHub, then it won't ask you for one. Just in case, there's a little bit of a workaround that I will drop in chat a little bit later. But yeah, like the idea is you want to set the organization if you need to, but you probably shouldn't need to if you're not in an organization on GitHub. And then if you click save, your GitHub is connected successfully. So then all of your repositories, which are like in your GitHub, on your GitHub account, will pop up on this little thing. And then, boom, MLH localhost icon blockchain casino. That is that is the repo that we're going to be working off of. Super cool. So then the next thing that we're going to want to do is, if you didn't already, make sure that your icon network is running. And then go back to your dashboard, and then add a new workspace. So your workspace name can just be icon. Then you're going to want to choose a blockchain to work on, obviously icon, and then next. You should just take the default settings that they give you, and then project my repository, and then please select repositories. MLH localhost icon blockchain casino. It's the one that we're working on. So then you hit next, and then for create a like new workspace network endpoints, you want to connect to a network. Well, we created a blockchain network called Icon, and then once you hit that from the drop-down menu, you should be good to go. Cool, and then just confirm and submit. Boom, now we have a new workspace, which should pop up right here. So,
Cool. We just set up a workspace in Morpheus Labs, which is super dope. And now our application is running on a blockchain, which is kind of dope. So then if you hit this play button, what it's going to do for you is open up like an instance of Visual Studio Code, and then like right off the bat we can just code right in the browser, as opposed to like having to worry about like dependency issues and like environment issues. Everything is just set up right there for you in Morpheus, which is pretty dope. Cool. So while this is like loading up, I'll drop that little workaround that I was talking about in case it's showing you your organization. So the workaround's pretty simple. You're just gonna want to create an empty GitHub organization, and then instead of forking the repo to your personal GitHub account, just fork it into that organization. And then in the organization dropdown, after you pass it your auth token, it'll be like, oh, cool, you have a new organization, and it only has one repo in it, which is very convenient for the sake of this project. So step one, create empty repo. Step two, I'm gonna remove that message. That's wrong. It's create an empty organization. Create an empty organization on GitHub. Step two, fork the icon blockchain casino into your new organization. Step three, set the organization on Morpheus to your new one. Oh, thank you, Modified Darkness. That's very, very good to know. Okay, so my workspace is still loading for some reason, which is a little bit sad that it's slow. But if yours is fully loaded, you can just click that icon, and then it will open Visual Studio Code for you, and then you can just vibe. So cool, 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 cool. I'm gonna wait for mine to load a little bit. If it gets to the point where y'all heard the last thing that I said, can you let me know if it loads for you or not? I'll give it like 4 minutes for everyone to sort of like get caught up and do everything. I ran through a lot of stuff, so if y'all have any questions, definitely just like drop them in the chat, and I will help y'all out. Just drop this here. Okay.
Does something. Wow, login. Okay. Sure. Oh. Okay, cool. My workspace is live now, which is very, very good. So yeah, like I said, if you click it, ta-da, Visual Studio Code. Um, yeah, cool. So, so this Visual Studio Code instance is running in a virtual machine, which is kind of dope. So yeah, if you open the terminal, you can see that it like clones the repo into it right away. The way that you can open the terminal is with control and then like the little tick. If you're on a Mac, I think on a Windows it is Control Shift I, or Control Shift plus. So yeah, my terminal is open now. So once your terminal is open, the first thing that you're going to want to do is to install all of your requirements. So like all of your dependencies, all of your packages. So the way that you do that in Python is pip3 install. But before that, we have to go to the folder where our application exists. So if you type in cd mlh and then just hit tab, it auto completes the entire thing for you. And then you want to hit enter. So CD is how you sort of like move around folders in a terminal. It stands for change directory, where directory is basically the same thing as folder. So yeah, CD, MLH localhost icon blockchain casino. And then what we want to do is pip3 install -r web app and then requirements.txt. So let's break this down. Pip is the package manager for Python. Install, we're asking it to install a bunch of packages. -r is recursive, and then the reason it's recursive is because when we give it the name of the file, it is it's like in a folder. So from here we see like under MLH localhost icon blockchain casino, inside of this folder is a folder called web app, and then inside of that folder is a file called requirements.txt, which has all of our dependencies. So basically like that -r is just telling it to go into the right place. So then we hit enter, and then diddly-do, it'll run these installs, and we'll be chilling. Hopefully it works. Seems slow. I'm gonna try to see if that does something. Yikes. Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. So, Leech, watching casino, and then yeah. Cool. It installed a bunch of stuff. Yeah. Sorry, my computer is a little bit slow because it is apparently not like powerful enough to run live streaming stuff, and then also the RAM behemoth that is Google Chrome. But yeah, once we have installed all of our dependencies, the next thing that we need to do is just run our app. So the way that we do that is pretty simple. Python 3 web app, and then main.py. And then cool, serving this thing. So it's a Flask app, so it's running in a server. So if you want to see the app, what you can do is you can just minimize this. Under the like workspace, you can hit this little icon
and then you can the I, like for more information. And then at the very bottom, there's application URLs. So if you click retrieve application URLs, it'll give you a URL for your Python app. And if you click that, it takes you to what our application is supposed to look like. It's this little slot machine. So if you see this go button, which is what we're supposed to sort of like do, what we're supposed to click to sort of like place bets, it's like grayed off because we haven't really like written code and like fixed it up a lot. So let's go back and do that. So if we go back here, cancel, and then open up our workspace again with this little expand button. Ooh, workspace. We can start modifying the code. So we're gonna want to open this up, like the directory on the drop-down menu, and then we will, we're gonna write our score, which is our smart contract. If you, after opening this window, you want to go into the slot machine folder, and then open slotmachine.py. So cool, now that that's open, I'm also gonna minimize this. Oh, that makes it larger. Whoopsie, I'll just like close out of it. So yeah, so as you can see, this is our code for like our little slot machine. So let's sort of go through the anatomy of a score and like talk about like what this stuff sort of does. So they contain functions which can be used externally, like from our web app. What external functions do we have? We have a set treasury, we have a get treasury, and then we have a play function. So we also have a get results function all the way down here. So set treasury, pretty simple. It adds ICX to the score treasury. So basically, like, if you've taken 111 or have a little bit of experience with object-oriented programming, in an object there are getters and setters. So it's pretty simple to just think of the treasury as an object. This sets it, this changes the value inside of the treasury, this gets it, so this tells you how much like money, currency, whatever value is in the treasury. And then play, which is what actually like sort of does like the fun little slot machine part. So yeah, and then get results just returns the results of a slot machine spin. So like I said before, this like hashes it, and then it what's it called? Like checks if it's correct. So cool. Let's get into it. We're gonna be modifying our play function, which is on line 45 of slotmachine.py. So there's a couple of things that this function is going to do. First thing is check that the bet is valid and that the treasury has enough ICX to pay out if a player wins. So it makes sense if the value of the treasury is like 1,000 coins and someone bets like 2,000 coins, there's no way for the treasury to be able to pay that if they win. So that's something that we need to check for. The next thing is it plays the game by randomly generating numbers. If it's a win, it sends an ICX transaction to the player, and then it sends the results back to the web app. The web app. Okay, cool. Thank you. The tab suspended because I was not using it. Interesting. Right here. Cool. So yeah, it sends it back to the web app to display. So this number should display your score when you're done. Okay, cool. So let's modify that code. So I'm gonna switch back to the slides real quick. Cool. So, let's start by getting the values we need. So this code is actually already in there. We're just gonna like run through it real quick. So this like first chunk basically just like gets all of the info. It gets the amount that I'm guessing a player wants to bet. Their balance gets that value of ICX from the treasury, and then it like prints all of that information to the console. Next, we have our little check that makes sure that like the player is not betting more than the treasury can pay out. It's a pretty simple if statement. And then the next few lines check that the bet amount is within a valid range. So there's like, yeah, you can either give like more money than the treasury has, or you can give like more money than computers are like able to represent. So this checks that. And then line 56 is the payout. So it like if you win, it calculates how much that should be, and then stores it as a value for use later. So yeah, there's an amount, there's a payout multiplier, and then there's a balance. Yeah, or rather, so yeah, like so it takes the lesser of the two values. So if you bet an amount and then you your winnings are what's it called? Your winnings are greater than the balance of the treasury, it will just give you everything in the treasury. But if the amount times its payout multiplier is smaller, then you'll get that. Cool. And then here's the magic, deciding if the player has won or not. So to make the game provably fair, we want to generate a truly random number. So this is like a little bit of a complicated line of code, but we can break it down. So first thing is we take the transaction hash self.tx.hash, and then convert it from a hexadecimal number to a byte string, and then we convert that byte string into text, into a string, right? Self.now gives us a string of the current time, and then, so yeah, like the game is random because it depends on what time of day that you play it, not like any other like external factors. And then what's it called? We create a string called seed and then add those two strings together. And then if it ends in 0, then you're golden. So it's sort of like the odds of a binary number, it's not even the odds of a binary number, I guess. Well, yeah, I guess what this does is it gets the like binary string, and then to the end of it, it adds the time. So I guess if you hit it on like the 0th millisecond or microsecond or whatever, then you win, which is, I guess, like a 1 in 10 chance. Like it's literally 1 in 10. It's like absolutely random. Cool. Next thing is we want to give the player a 1 in 10 chance of winning, which is an easy way to do this is to check if it divides by 10 evenly. So yeah, we're going to want to change the number that we got to an int and then check if it mods to 10. So we want to check if it's divisible by 10. So yeah, we take the seed string and encode it into a secure hash using SHA-3 256, which is one of the most secure hashing algorithms in the world. We then convert that number into an integer, and then we check if it is divisible by 10. And then if the result equals 0, that means that they won, and we can give them money. And then if they don't win, they lose. Yeah, if it's not divisible by 0, they lose. So yeah. Then we're going to want to create sort of like a JSON object to return to the user. So basically all of the values that we like generated and a bunch of other stuff will be stored in a JSON object. And then we're just going to send it back to the user with this line down here, self.playResultsArray.put string JSON result. That was a lot. It was a mouthful. Cool. I'm going to check the chat and see if there are any questions. Seemingly not. Okay, cool. I'm going to keep going then. So yeah. So after you've done all of the sort of like calculations of like the game, the next thing that you want to do is like actually move the cryptocurrency around. So if like win is true, log.info amount owed to winner, and then you run this block of code. Where it's self.icx.transfer. So yeah, this sends money, and then self.fund transfer, and then yeah, this also sends money. Cool. And then there's an accept, like, so try accept. So in case there's an error, it's just like, hey, there's an error. And then it's like returning the bet. and then else logger info player lost. So yeah, if they win, try to send them money. If they can't, if you can't for some reason, print an error. If they don't win, tell them they lost. So yeah, let's recap. We finished creating a workspace and then wrote the score. And then next we need to create an icon wallet to store the coins that we'll use to play the game. So to do that, you want to create an icon wallet. So here's the URL and then just click on wallet. So let me drop that in chat. Cool. I just dropped it in chat, so I'm just gonna keep going. So yeah, once you go to that link, you're gonna want to click. Yeah, once you click like the wallet on that page, like in the nav bar, it redirects you to a Chrome extension, and then you're gonna want to install that Chrome extension. So I will do this right now, and then switch back to my Chrome. So. Cool. And then we're going to want to hit wallet. Ooh. Add to Chrome. Add extension. Cool. Just running a little quick install. Cool. So my extension has just been added to Chrome. So once you do that, you want to click on the extension. It should open a little like window for you. Or no, it takes you to a web page. Even better. Cool. So after you do that, you're going to want to click create wallet. After you create a wallet, you're going to want to select icon ICX for that like cryptocurrency. Hit next. And then you're going to want to name your wallet. So I'm going to name mine Amalich icon wallet. Your wallet password is whatever you want it to be. I'm going to make mine a password. And then down here. Cool, and then hit next. Cool. So once you have created your wallet, it'll give you a key store file, which is a backup of your wallet. So it's just an encrypted private key, which you can use to access your wallet from other devices. Make sure not to lose it. So there are like some really fun stories about people who like invested in Bitcoin in like 2010 or 11, and back when like Bitcoin was like $20 a Bitcoin, and it was like, haha, whatever, it's not important. It was only $20. Like I used it to order a pizza once. So they had maybe like 20 or 30 or 50 Bitcoin kind of just like lying around. And then they lost their keys. And then when Bitcoin became worth $20,000 and they couldn't find their key, they lost, as you can imagine, a ton of money. So definitely don't lose this key. Although this is just like a fun little like demo side project, so that's all good. So oh, cool, I missed a step. So yeah, after you download your key store, you want to go to a file, or you want to go to the next step. And then this private key, you're just gonna wanna copy that. So there's a little copy button right here. Just click that copy, and then you're good. And then just hit complete. So now our wallet is set up. Very cool. So yeah, this is your wallet dashboard. It shows you how many tokens you have. As you can see, there's like a little voting power thing here. So like I said before, blockchain sort of like relies on consensus and like checking if like everybody has the same like ledger. So your voting power is related to how much of the coin you own. So yeah, like your like odds are if you have a lot of money, then you are transacting a lot, which means you have the most up-to-date ledger. So like the voting, cool. It's like slightly complicated, but also like not too bad. So yeah. So now that we've done this, we want to run our wallet on testnet instead of mainnet. And the reason we want to do that is so that we can, number one, give ourselves a ton of this like ICX coin to gamble with on our slot machine. So here's how we're gonna do that. So if you hit F12, that should open your console. So once your console opens, you want to go to application over here. And then once you are at application, you're gonna want to go to local storage, and then if you pop that open, Chrome extension, and then something should be there. Yes, FLP. Yep, this weird looking thing. Cool. So then you have some keys and some values. So we're gonna want to add a new key value pair. This one is called is dev. ISDEV capital D, and then set it to true. And then after we do that, we want to reload our page. So we're just gonna reload that. Cool. So after you do that, what's gonna come up is at the bottom of your wallet screen, you're gonna see like a mainnet. So yeah, it's like super dark and like kind of small, but like down over here, you should see a little button that says like mainnet. So if you click that, you can change it to Yoido. So Uito is the sort of like code name for testnet. Fun fact, it's actually a small island in Seoul, Korea. It's the city's financial district. So that's why they made it like the sort of like a test network. So yeah, cool. Now our wallet is running on testnet. And then once we do that, we want to go to mlhlocal.host/faucet. And that's where we're gonna get like the money to gamble with. So I'm gonna add that to the thing. Hopefully that's I'll wait for it to catch up a little bit. I don't know if it's caught up yet, so I'm just gonna hit enter. So yeah, if you go to that link, you can get free cryptocurrency. So next thing you want to do is enter your testnet account address. So yeah, like you copied your or no. Yeah, cool. So if you go back to here, this fun number here is your address. So if you click copy address, go back to this tab and then paste, it'll send you some test ICX. Cool. So then it did that. So if I go back here, it should say 20. We'll refresh it. Maybe that's what it needs. Okay, cool. Waiting for it to refresh. 20 ICX. Wow, super cool. So yeah, now we have some test money to play with. Cool. And then we downloaded our Keystore file, which contains our authorization credentials to access our wallet. So we're going to give that to our slot machine, and then we're going to be able to play against it. So yeah, like I said before, the Keystore is sort of just like an encrypted file. So it combined with your wallet password keeps your ICX protected. Don't give anyone your file or your password, unless you want them to access your wallet, obviously. But like generally speaking, keep that stuff to yourself. Security is important. So, now that we've done that, we want to move our Keystore file to our like code environment. So if you downloaded it in Chrome, it should be like down here on a little drag and drop. So if you want to just click and drag that into like the code bits, it should upload, and it uploaded. Thank you, Kanye. Very cool. So yeah, it starts with UTC. So actually, you're gonna want to put that in your key stores folder specifically, in the application. Yes, I would like to move it. Cool. Did it move? No. Oh, cool, it moved. All right. So then once you've done that, you want to rename it to give it a JSON file extension. So so dot JSON. So now it's a JSON file, and the thing, it can be read now by our program. So, so yeah. So the next step is to change our environment variables. So what is an environment variable? They're values that are used across the application, and they're just like stored in a file for security reasons, and also just for like ease of access. So in our source code, there's a file called .env.example in the web app folder, and it contains some default values that we want to replace, like our wallet password and stuff like that. So let's go there. Actually, what we want to do is, what's probably better, is to copy it. So if we open a new tab in our terminal, just hit, no, not Command T. You want to hit Control T. Rest in pieces. Yeah, Control T. That can open another tab. On another terminal. Maybe I want to quit this. I'm just gonna quit this terminal and open a new one. It's all good. Cool. Okay, cool. So, we want to take this environment file, .env.example, and then we want to rename it. So the way that we can do that from the terminal is just by using the cp like command. So if you do cp webapp slash dot env dot example, and then just change its name to dot env, you can hit that. Cool. So if you go over here in web app, you'll notice that there's a new file, and it's down here. It's called .env. So we're gonna want to modify this environment file. I've been going through a lot of stuff, so I will probably take like a short 2-minute break or so, just to let y'all catch up. Again, let me know if there are any questions in the chat.
Okay. Do-do. Okay, cool. I'm gonna get back to it. So, I'm gonna switch to my slides for this actually. Do-do-do. So yeah. We're gonna change two values in our environment variables. Actually, I might go back a slide, just so everybody knows what they need to do. So yeah, like I said before, you want to drag that file that you downloaded from your what was it called? Your icon wallet. Drag it to Visual Studio under the keystores file, and then rename it so that it ends in .json. Next is you want to create a copy of your environment example with the cp command. So cp webapp /env.example webapp /env. And then next, we're going to change some environment variables. We're going to change two: the location of your keystore file and your wallet password. So change the value of player wallet private key path and player wallet passport to your values, and then save the file. So switching back to the code, cool. So yeah, player wallet private key path. So dot slash key stores, that can stay the same. The name needs to change though to be that super long UTC thing. So if we open this, can I copy name? Yeah, we'll just copy relative path, and then go back to our dot environment variables, or yeah, dot environment file, and paste. Yeah, allow that. Oh, yeast. Yeesh. Cool. Yeah, so just delete all that. Cool. And then you want to set your player wallet password to the password that you created your wallet with. So I'm gonna make mine something fun like use X. Cool. This is not the password that I used when creating the wallet, which hindsight's 2020, but you should use the actual password that you set. Cool. And then we want to modify our tbears config. So like we said before, tbears is the command line tool that allows us to like do all of the fun, cool wallet stuff. So that'll be the file tbears CLI config.json, which is down here. So if we pop that open, we want to change the same thing, right? Like the path of our key stores file that we want to change to what our actual file is. So I'm just gonna paste that bad boy, delete a bunch of stuff, and then it'll be good to go. And then you want to, oh, that's pretty much it. Yep, that's all you need to do in the tbears config. So yeah, make sure to save your changes. I'm gonna hit save here, save there. Why is it? Okay, cool. And then we want to deploy our score, our smart contract, and then we should be good to go. So switching back to the slides real quick. Yeah. So all you need to do is just run tbears deploy slot machine.
and then you're good to go. And then it'll get your password. After you type in your password, it should work out, and then it'll give you a transaction hash, and then you want to copy that. So let me try that over here. So T bears. Oh no, not there. Deploy slot machine. Cool. And then we hit enter. We'll ask for a password. Cool. It worked for me. So let me change back real quick to the demo. So yeah, if you see over here, there's like a transaction hash that was generated, which is exactly what we wanted. So let's copy that because we were told we were gonna need it. Control C. Yep. So once we copy it, we want to run another tbears command to verify that score deployed. So going back to the slides, you want to just type tbears tx result and then paste that, and then it'll return some fun results for us. So I'm gonna do that. Cool. And then we get a transaction result back. Cool. It's gonna take like a maybe 30-second break. Make sure that everybody's good to go in the chat. Cool. So yeah. Now we have that result. So yeah, if your output includes a score address, which mine does right here, yep, we were successful. The address is a unique identifier for our score, which now exists on testnet. So cool, y'all just chained some blocks. Good job. So yeah, we've deployed our score to testnet. Next, we need to add some funds to the score so we can actually like play the game. So this is where we want to modify our environment file. So yeah, we want to paste the value that we got from our tbears container into the casino score address. So yeah. So that is the score address that we just got by running that tx result command. So if we go back to dot environment, change in dot and there's a casino score address, copy from contract deployment. Yep. So then if we hit paste here and save it, that's step one. Step two is to send some funds to the score to act as a treasury for the game. We do this by sending a transaction score from our wallet to the score. So we need to modify some details in the transaction. So if we go to send set treasury.json, down here, it's a JSON file. Cool. So once we go there, there are two values to modify here, our wallet address and the score address. We can grab those from our .environment file, and then we want to paste them. And then remember, your wallet address starts with HX and the score wallet starts with CX, so make sure to put the right values in the right places. So score address, let me do that real quick. Paste, very nice. And then if you go to .env, there should be an hx somewhere in there. Yup, it's this, I think it's this bit of the file. Like that part of the file name. Cool. So then we can send the transaction that we just described with send set treasury with tbears again. So if we do tbears send tx send set treasury dot json. So tbears send. I realize this is very small, so I actually might try and zoom in. Hopefully that did something. Probably not. Control Shift plus. No, well, can't say I didn't try. Send tx, and then send set treasury.json. If we hit enter on that, it'll ask for our password again. And then you get a transaction hash from that. So now if we test transaction success, if we get that score like bank, like the treasury address, the one that starts with CX, and then we type tbears balance, that number. The balance in hex is some like hexadecimal number, and then the balance in decimal is like a ridiculously large number. So I'm gonna switch over to the slides real quick and sort of just like run through what that looks like in maybe like a bigger font. So yeah, modify your environment file, add the casino score address that we generated, add funds to the treasury by going to send set treasury, paste your wallet's address, which is sort of like the tail end of the name of the file of your key store, and then score address is just that like CX. If you do tbears send tx send set treasury.json, that will send a ton of money there. And then if you check the balance, that will return a number. Specifically 720-575-268-510-64754. I also have that number in my terminal, so I'm guessing it's the same for everyone. Cool. So now the last thing we want to do is just launch our web application, and then we're chilling like some villains. So if we go to Python, go back to our terminal, and just like run our server again with Python 3 web app main /py, or main.py, sorry. It should work. So let me do that real quick. So Python 3 main or web app main.py. Ooh, password is wrong, right? Because I didn't put in my actual password. Okay, cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna switch to something else, change my password, and then come back. So y'all will just get like a couple of seconds of just my webcam. Hi y'all, how you doing? So yeah, I'm gonna save that, delete this environment, or no, save them. Cool. Alrighty, so now my password is correct. So let's see this bad boy in action. Control. Python 3. Cool, it runs. So now if we go back to our slot machine, probably want to refresh this. A little bit slow. So I want to make a bet value. So I'll just bet like, interesting. It's still, the go button is still grayed out. Okay. It ran though. Okay. Well, it should work for y'all. Just let me know if it doesn't. I'll wait in chat for that to happen. Oh, we got some errors. Some some thick errors. Okay. Max retries with URL. Okay. Let me try and restart the server. Maybe that'll do something. Okay. We go here, refresh the page. What happens after we refresh? Okay, cool. Get 200. That's generally good. And then bad things happen. Hmm. Okay. Well, so yeah. I guess if you're following along, just let me know if that doesn't work. But hypothetically speaking, it should. I will stay after for maybe like 20 or so minutes to check, to like try and help anybody out if they need that. But yeah, just going back to the Slidos. What's actually like going on here? It like worked. Like assuming let's say that this worked, right? The user sets a bet amount and clicks go. The app writes a new transaction to send our score with the bet amount, and then the score receives the transaction, withdraws the bet amount from the player's wallet. After that, it spins randomly to decide whether or not the player has won with that whole like date hash thing. And then if the player wins, it sends a fund transfer to the user's wallet with the winnings. And then finally, it returns it so that you know how much you won. And then the way that you can like track the activity of our score is by using the testnet tracker. So that's this URL, mlhlocal.host/icon tracker. I'll drop the URL in chat. But I probably won't go to it because it didn't work on my end. But yeah, if you paste your score address into the bar and hit enter, it'll show you how many transactions you've been having. And then you can see your score balance, number of transactions, etc. And then if you select a transaction, you can see which wallet it came from and how many ICX were transferred. So this is sort of like a blockchain monitoring. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's recap real quick. We launched the app and learned how to track our scores on the icon tracker. Awesome. So review and next steps. We finally reached the end of the presentation 90 minutes later. Good job, everyone. Give yourself a pat on the back. So, what did we learn today? An introduction to blockchain technology, an icon, which is a specific sort of like blockchain network, how to create an icon blockchain using Morpheus Labs, and then how to write scores and deploy them using T-Bears. Knows a lot of content, but like it sort of like follows logically. And you'll, if you checked in at the beginning, I'm pretty sure you got a copy of these slides, and you're sort of just able to like follow along, or at the very minimum, I believe like a written sort of like guide to follow along. So, in that vein, the Icon Community Grant Program. So if you use Icon, they'll give you an ICX grant to a project that benefits the Icon community. So if you write a proposal, and you propose use for Icon and ICX that includes infrastructure, development, education, marketing, public relations, and community activities, you can get a grant and do some cool stuff with blockchain. So if this was interesting to you, definitely check that out. What did you learn today? So we created a fun quiz for you to test your knowledge and see what you learned from this workshop. Feel free to take that quiz if you want. It's mlhlocal.host/quiz. And then learning shouldn't stop when the workshop ends. Shout out to y'all, by the way, for like hopping on a 90-minute call to learn about blockchain in the middle of the COVID quarantine. Y'all are troopers. Really appreciate you and your dedication to your own learning. That's what it's all about. That's what USACS loves. So if you check your email, you'll get access to these slides, practice problems to keep learning, deeper dives into key topics, instructions to join the community, and more opportunities from MLH. So if you, I'm guessing that everyone here is from Rutgers, but if you hypothetically want to run one of these workshops for maybe like a group of your friends or like at your high school or like local library, you can totally do that. You just have to sign up for a local host workshop. More opportunities from MLH. We run a career lab. Actually, I'm pretty sure pretty soon we're doing like a virtual career fair. If you're still looking for like a virtual internship, or at the very least sort of want to talk to recruiters and see how to improve your resume, stuff like that. So yeah, this has been Blockchain Casino, learning how to score on Icon. Thank you so much. Cool.